Hi crafty friends, it's Amanda with a Coast to Coast collaboration for September 2023. So you can go under my description of the video and there'll be a playlist for everybody playing along this month. And if you want to see if there's any on Instagram, check out the hashtag C2CSEP23. So our prompts for this month are family, quote, pocket, and technique. And for family, I found these photos. I'm going back to my heritage albums, and I have these photos of my granddad from 1942 when he had enlisted as Army Air Corps, which became the Air Force later on. And then for my quote, I found the quote from President Harry S. Truman, and I did it in a couple different fonts because I wasn't sure what direction I wanted to go in. But these papers from The Good Life, I think are just perfect for the Army Air Corps because it has the browns plus the blues that were their uniforms. I think if I would have added toffee to it, it would have probably captured those colors perfectly. Now I will tell you that I change and try to put this fourth photo in 16, 18, 20 dozen times. And so please bear with me as I try it in all sorts of iterations. I do eventually cast it off to the side as, no, this is not going to fit. But in the meantime, you will get to see my process. So I wanted to make sure that the photo of the four gentlemen in front of the Randolph Field House building, I guess it's a very iconic building, is showcased. I want this to be where your eye is drawn. There's another photo that has two gentlemen of my granddad and someone else, but it's so far away it's hard to see. So I figured the four of them with the building in the background might be my focal, or I wanted it to be my focal piece. And here you can see, does it fit here? Does it fit there? This is the quote that I went ahead and matted, and I figured that would give some balance with that Harbor cardstock because I double matted the photo with Harbor and Mist. So just trying to find some color balance on this page. And again, I don't know if you can even see the two gentlemen in that photo in the bottom left corner, but there are two gentlemen in there. And there's actually writing on the back of the photo. And so I copied it off. Normally I would have gone ahead and just made a photocopy of it and used my granddad's writing, but it was kind of messy and not contained. So I just decided for this one, I could have my writing on this layout. And so I went to my stash and I have this Vintage USA stamp, and it has the parts of the American flag, and the cool thing is they're very distressed, which I think works perfectly with these old vintage photos. But I'm not sure how deep the ink is going to be on them. So I had printer issues. So actually our oldest printed out some pages for me, and the first one he brought down, his printer had some issues. So I have some samples here that I can use to see how I want to stamp. I will remind you, to all of us that are doing the C2C, if you want to give us a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to any of the channels, I would highly recommend that so you don't miss anything. So here I did second generation, where I stamp off once and then stamped on it on the project. But now I'm doing third generation, where I've stamped off twice and now just doing the third generation. So stamp once, stamp twice, and now I'm putting the field of stars on the flag. And this, you can kind of see the difference there between the second generation and the third generation. So I'm glad that I had those samples to practice on so that I could do the final project with the third generation. And the colors that I'm using is Scarlet and then the Harbor ink, because it has a little bit of that blue in it. And again, it stays true to the colors in the Good Life paper pack. All of the supplies and tools that are available I will have listed below the video. Some of them might be on Amazon. I am an Amazon affiliate, so if you click those links and purchase anything, I might receive compensation from Amazon for directing you to them. I'm trying out some mats under here because I put my journaling of my granddad and how he was in the military, but he was always stationed stateside because my grandmother was a nurse and there was a nursing shortage. So she agreed to be a civilian nurse with the Army Air Corps if my granddad stayed stateside. And so she was able to relocate with him from this Randolph field in Texas, and then I think they also had a stint over in New Jersey. So now I have moved my journaling to a different tag that's on the MISTI tag with the harbor as a frame on it, or a mat. But I knew that I needed something more on the espresso background. So I, again, from the Vintage USA stamp, I'm taking this United States of America, and I'm kind of just going to make a banner of it between the two papers. And I know that my photos are going to cover some of it. So even after I dropped the stamp pad on it, my whoopsie is going to be covered. Yay! And so I'm going to go ahead and do this other side with masking. And then there's 3 different size stars that are all distressed on this Vintage USA stamp. And so I'm just going to do some random stamping in the background here, just to kind of fill it in. Stars, I think, are great, especially for a military page. I'm really excited to have more of these photos ready to kind of share with my family, and the stories that I remember being told, like I said, of my grandma saying that she would sign up as a civilian nurse if Granddad got to stay stateside. And Granddad was a plane or small, well, he did small motor repairs kind of in his daily life as a civilian, but here he worked on planes. I'm just finishing up putting on some of those stars. I want to dry fit my photos. I feel like I need a few more stars in the background here, but it's funny, I came at this layout not having a direction. I kept looking for ideas with 4 photos or 3 photos even, and so I just kind of put this together from experience of how I like things, how I view things, knowing what the album that it goes in looks like. I have put foam tape on the back of these, and I'm making a pocket for my tag to slip in. If you haven't seen anybody do this before, you just kind of make a frame with the foam tape around the journaling, the tag, the whatever it is you're going to slip in behind, and then that just gives it a drawer space, I guess, to go under. And then here, to make sure that it doesn't slide all the way through, I'm just taking 2 pieces of foam tape, and then that just gives it a stop of it's not going to slide all the way down. And here I dug into my stash and pulled out these old compliments, and they had them in all sorts of colors at the time, but it must have been 7-8 years ago at least. So they have stars as part of this black glitter, and I can't remember if they were compliments or fundamental compliments, something about that, but I am finally using some of these, which I love, and I'm going to get rid of that circle one that it's from that sheet. It was just upside down there on the page, and I use my piercing tool to kind of push under to make sure that I can pull those stars out, and I'm just splattering them around on this layout, and this is going to be done. Go see what all the other gals did for our Coast to Coast collaboration with their prompts. I'm pretty excited. I'm going to have my family is definitely my grandfather. My quote is there from the President Truman. And then my pocket for the tag, and my technique can be the stamping, or I really like how that flag turned out on that sentiment, or on the quote, I should say. I will have our prompts for October if you want to join along. Home, acronym, one big photo, interactive. Join us at C2C October 23. There will be links below if you want to join the Facebook group or if you want to connect with me. Hope you have a great day. Blessings.